Namaste to everyone. Yes, dear children, in today's class, we are going to learn about animals and their habitats. Animals and their habitats. With an estimated 7.77 million species of animals on the planet, the animal kingdom is an undeniably diverse place. Yes, as we know that there are diverse varieties of animals are living around in this world, isn't it? Yes, there are so many kinds of animals are living around the world. Some may make their habitat on the forest, and some may make their habitat on the river or water, or in the grasslands or in the polar region, etc. And some animals are lived in the forest. They are usually called wild animals, and they make their habitat there only. They are living in a natural or undomesticated state. And such animals are called wild animals, isn't it? For example, tiger, lion, elephant, giraffe, or maybe monkey, cheetah, hippopotamus, rhinoceros, leopard, jackal, fox, deer, wolf, bear, and zebra, bison, gorilla, kangaroo, and koala bear, chimpanzees, etc. There are so many varieties of animals are living around us. Animals are diverse group of organisms that make up the kingdom known as Animalia. Animals are a diverse group of organisms and that make up the kingdom known as Animalia. Animals also have a diverse group of organisms and they have their own kingdom that is known as Animalia. Because of that kingdom, we are calling them as animals. The first animals are thought to have evolved over 550 million years ago, and over the last 550 million years, the animal kingdom has become incredibly successful and diverse with many million species now inhabiting Earth. The first animals are thought to have been evolved over the 550 million years ago. Animals are evolved around over the 550 million years ago, and after that over the last 550 million years the animals kingdom has incredibly successful, means animal kingdom have been increasing and they are inhabiting on the earth. There are several species, there are diverse million species of animals are living on the earth today. There are 5 different types of habitats found on the earth. They are forest, desert, polar regions and mountains, ocean and freshwater. There are 5 different types of habitats found on the earth. They are forest, desert, polar regions and mountains, ocean and freshwater. And the animals are living on these habitats. Then, what do you mean by habitat? Yes, the place where an organism naturally lives and reproduces is called a habitat. Habitat is a place where an organism lives naturally there and reproduces its kingdom or reproduces is called habitat. And habitat provides air, food, water and shelter to an animal. Habitat provides air to breathe and food to eat and water to drink and shelter to live to an animal. There are several animals are around us. Just glance the images of different types of animals. Lion, deer, tiger, which is called the national animal of India, isn't it? Yes. And the lion, who is called the king of the forest or the king of the jungle. Monkey, elephant, panda, zebra, giraffe, fox, leopard, etc. These animals are lived in the forest. Usually they are called wild animals. And some animals make their habitat on the grassland. Grassland. Grassland habits are places that receive more rain than desert and but less precipitation than forest. Most of the plants here are grasses which don't need as much as water as forest vegetation. Grassland. Grassland are the habitats that are the places which receives more rain than desert but less than forest. And here most of the plants are grasses. Here some of the animals make their habitats. For examples, animals which lived on the grasslands are cheetah, gazelle, giraffe, zebra, hyena, rabbit, etc. Desert habitat. Deserts are the driest place on earth and they get fewer than 10 inches, means 25 centimeters of rain a year. And some desert may get a lot of rain all at once. Then it might not rain again for months or even years. Desert are the driest place on the earth which receives less rainfall here, but some of the desert might get rain, but then it might not rain again for a month or even years. And some deserts are always cold. In fact, the biggest desert in the world is Antarctica. Antarctica is the desert which is always cold. It is not hottest desert. Even though it's covered in snow and ice, it rarely rains or snow in Antarctica, which make it a desert. Though Antarctica is covered by snow and ice, but it didn't receive rainfall there. Hence, Antarctica is called a desert. And in desert also, some of the animals made their habitat. Let's know about them. For example, kangaroo rat, rattlesnake, coyote, meerkat, camel, jackrabbit, and some more species of reptiles are make their habitat on the desert. As we know that camel is called the ship of the desert, isn't it? It survived in the desert as the transport of the desert people. Yes, and some more varieties of reptiles and meerkats, such animals are make their habitat on the desert. And even some of the species like Gila monster that also living in a desert. And some of the animals also make their habitat in the polar regions. Polar habitats cover the top and bottom of planet Earth at the north and south poles. And the North Pole is surrounded by the Arctic Ocean and there isn't any land here, just a group of continually shifting ice sheets. And parts of Canada and Greenland are near the North Pole. And the South Pole is located on Antarctica. And this area has land but is completely covered with a layer of ice that's almost there, miles thick in some places. Polar region. Polar region is the top and bottom planet or place of the earth at the that is called North and South Pole. The top and the bottom there is a poles called North Pole and South Pole of the Earth, and this region is called polar regions. And polar region also some of the animals living, and it's the place or the region which is totally covered by ice, and there is no land at all. And for example, parts of Canada and Greenland, which exist on the North Pole, and even Antarctica, which existed in the South Pole. These are examples for polar regions. And here also some of the animals living. Polar bears and Arctic foxes, and even some of the walruses and penguin, narwhals. These are the animals living in the polar region. Polar regions are covered by snow and ice. Here also some of the animals made their habitat. For example, reindeer, snowy owl, ringed seal, polar bears, penguins, Arctic fox, etc. These are the well-known animals which lived in the polar region. Mountain habitat. It can be a long climb to the top of a mountain, but once you're there, you can see for miles. It's like you are standing on top of the world. Yes, mountain habitat. It can be very long, and if you can once stand there, you can feel that you can standing on the top of the world. In such areas also, some of the animals are living. In the mountain region, also some of the animals are living. For example, polar bears and some of the polar foxes, etc. Some animals also lived in a fresh water and under the ocean. What is the fresh water, or how they lived? Let's know. Rivers, creeks, lakes, ponds, and streams are all freshwater habitats. Fish living in a freshwater habitats have plenty of company. Not only fishes are living in the fresh water, even some of the animal kingdoms are lived here. For example, snails, worms, turtles, frogs, marsh birds, mollusks, alligators, beavers, otters, snakes, and many more types of insects are living in a fresh water. And some unusual animals like the river dolphin and the diving bell spider are also examples for freshwater creatures. And ocean habitat. From outer space, Earth looks like an awesome blue marble because most of Earth's surface, more than 70% of the Earth is covered by water. That is called oceans. And here also some of the animals are living under the water called ocean. That is called ocean habitat. Some of the animals which make their habitat as the ocean, they are octopus, turtle, crab, whale, dolphin, etc. Yes, dear children, in today's class we came across so many information. There we studied about the animals and some of the animals where they are living, means animals and their habitats. Some animals are living in the forest and some may make their habitat on the ocean or on the water, on the fresh water, and some may make their habitat in the desert region, and some may make their habitat in the polar region or in the mountains and on the grasslands, etc. And we came across the examples for that. For example, in a forest, so many animals are living, like tiger, lion, cheetah, leopard, etc. And some animals are living in the grassland region. For example, rabbit, giraffe, zebra, etc. And some animals are living in the polar region or in the mountain region. For example, Arctic fox and polar bears and penguins, etc. And some animals are living under the ocean or in the fresh water. For example, varieties of fishes and crab, crocodiles, turtles, dolphin, etc. And some animals also lived in the desert area, for example, camel and varieties of reptiles and coyote, meerkat, camel, jackrabbit, etc. Yes, dear children, I hope you enjoyed today's journey in the animal kingdom and understood today's class. Thank you.